Has the question ever crossed your mind? Why do some musicians seem to have a distinct advantage over others? The difference is often in the quality of practice. It's not just about the total time spent in the studio or the amount of shows played. The real heart of the issue is the quality of their practice, the depth of concentration, the setting of crystal clear goals. Practicing isn't simply a case of rehashing the same notes over and over. It involves understanding the instrument, of course, but also the inner workings of the music and the sentiments each note projects. It requires perseverance, making errors and learning from them. It demands consistency, practicing frequently, even if it's only for a few brief moments each day, and setting specific goals. Each practice serves a purpose, whether it's mastering a complex passage, refining your improvisation skills, or playing a song flawlessly from start to finish. It's clear that effective practice habits are a key to success for musicians. But can these habits change depending on the genre of music? Let's turn our attention to classical musicians. How do they approach their practice sessions? Classical musicians are known for their disciplined approach to practice. They tend to follow a strict routine that is designed to improve their technical skills and musical understanding. This routine is often meticulously planned, with time set aside each day for warm-ups, technical exercises, repertoire work, and cool-downs. Warm-ups are the cornerstone of any practice routine. Classical musicians often start with scales, arpeggios, and other exercises designed to loosen up the fingers and engage the mind. This is followed by technical exercises, which are designed to improve specific areas of performance, such as speed, precision, and articulation. Once the warm-up and technical exercises are complete, classical musicians turn their attention to their repertoire. This is where they work on the pieces they are currently learning or performing. They take a patient and methodical approach, often spending hours on a single phrase or section until they can play it with precision and musicality. Perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of classical musicians' practice habits is their dedication to long, uninterrupted sessions. Unlike other types of musicians who might grab a few minutes here and there to practice, classical musicians tend to set aside large chunks of time, often several hours in a row, for focused and uninterrupted practice. This allows them to dive deep into the music and work on the finer details that make a performance truly exceptional. Some famous examples of classical musicians and their rigorous practice regimes include violinist Jascha Heifetz, who was known to practice for up to 8 hours a day, and pianist Vladimir Horowitz, who even in his 80s still practiced several hours each day. These examples highlight the level of commitment and discipline required to excel in the world of classical music. It's about more than just playing the notes on the page. It's about refinement, precision, and a deep understanding of the music. Classical musicians are disciplined and rigorous, but what about rock musicians? Is their practice any less effective? Rock musicians have a different vibe. But does this translate into their practice habits? Let's delve into the unique world of rock music and explore how these artists approach their craft. Unlike their classical counterparts, rock musicians place a huge emphasis on creativity and improvisation. This genre is all about pushing boundaries, experimenting, and finding your own unique sound. Artists such as Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, for instance, have been known to spend hours improvising, playing with different sounds, and experimenting with new guitar techniques. This unstructured, exploratory practice allows rock musicians to develop their own distinctive style and voice. Now let's talk about intensity. Rock musicians are renowned for their passionate, energetic performances, and this energy often translates into their practice. Instead of long, steady practice sessions, many rock musicians prefer short, intense bursts of practice. They might spend a concentrated half an hour or so working on a particular riff or solo, pushing their skills to the limit. This approach can be seen in the practice regime of Slash from Guns N' Roses, who would spend relentless hours perfecting his solos, playing until his fingers literally bled. Collaboration is another key element in the practice habits of rock musicians. Many rock bands practice together, feeding off each other's energy and creativity. This collaborative practice allows musicians to develop a tight, cohesive sound, as exemplified by the Rolling Stones. Their long jam sessions where they would play, improvise and experiment together were integral to their iconic sound. So does this mean that rock musicians are any less disciplined or rigorous in their practice than classical musicians? Absolutely not. Their approach may be different, more fluid and less structured, but it is equally effective. They are masters of their craft, continually pushing their musical boundaries, and their practice habits reflect this. So we see that rock musicians have a different but equally effective approach to practice. What can we learn from these contrasting styles? Both classical and rock musicians have effective practice habits, though they approach them differently. As ventured through the domains of classical and rock music, we've noticed that the common denominator of their virtuosos is effective practice habits. Regardless of the genre, musicianship requires consistency, focus, and goal-oriented practice. These are the key elements that sustain mastery. Consistency is the foundation of any practice routine. It's not about immersing oneself in practice for hours one day and skipping the next. It's about making an effort every day, even if it's just for a quarter of an hour. Like a steady rhythm, consistency in practice forms a pattern, a pulse that keeps your musical journey vibrant and progressing. It's the baseline that complements the melody of your growth. Focus, however, is the tool with which we scrutinize our practice. It's the microscope that highlights the areas that require our attention. When practicing, it's vital to concentrate on specific areas of improvement, be it mastering a tricky chord progression or refining the subtleties of a complex operatic aria. Focus is the compass that guides us through the vast territory of learning music, aiding us in our journey to proficiency. Then comes goal-oriented practice, the roadmap that plots our route. It's about defining clear, achievable goals for each practice session. It could be perfecting a passage, enhancing your sight-reading abilities, or delivering a challenging solo. A goal gives our practice direction, a sense of purpose. It's the melody that threads through the symphony of our musical journey, binding all the diverse aspects into a unified whole. However, bear in mind that there's no one-size-fits-all method to practicing. Each piece of music is unique, and so is each musician's practice routine. Some may find comfort in the structure of a strict schedule, while others may prosper in a more adaptable, free-flowing rhythm. It's about discovering what suits you, your own rhythm, your own melody, your own harmony. Remember, it's not about the duration of your practice, but the effectiveness of it. So settle in, focus, and let your music flow.